Hi guys, this is Ashley. I'm trying to do a video to let you know about never trusting CPS. I've been dealing with them for 4 years. It first started when they decided to take my niece, Layla, from my sister Chelsea. I applied to be their transporter, and I also applied for placement of my niece. I was approved for both placement and adoption. And when it came time to adopt my niece, because they weren't going to replace her back with her mom, they illegally adopted her out. They said that she had no family available yet. I had passed all the background and I had done everything that it was supposed to be done by CPS. And now, because of that, they're coming after my family. The first incident that I had where they came after me was I made a complaint against a school district for my son getting physically assaulted by not only a teacher but also by a child in the school. And I reported in November, and the school turned around and reported in February and said that I was assaulting my son. So in comes CPS, and the first social worker I had was Brian Schultz. He tried to put me into the FAR program, which I'm telling you guys, do not sign. FAR program says, if you read in the small print, that you're admitting to the neglect and abuse, so I refused to sign. They harassed my kids relentlessly. They went to their school. They harassed me. And then finally, I got told that if I didn't join the FAR program, that I'd be in big trouble. And they also threatened me and told me that they would take my kids away from me. And if you join the FAR program, I was told by Brian Schultz, a social worker, CPS worker, that they would give me a gift card for $25 for Fred Meyer. Well, guess what? I'm not going to sell my kids down the river like that. I'm a mom, and that's just not what you do. Then, while I was going through this situation with Brian Schultz, he ended up getting fired, and I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. CPS got wind of that because of a doctor in UW, Dr. Keppel. He told an utter lie to CPS again, saying that my daughter was malnourished and was severely sick, yet my daughter had been seen by 4 other people, other doctors, and they said absolutely not. She is not sick. There's nothing wrong with her. And so just because before I delivered my daughter, I was so scared to tell CPS anything about it that I lied about my due date. So I had no interaction with CPS until the end of January, when they thought that I was delivering the baby. As soon as I got home, I had a social worker, a CPS worker from Arlington, CPS, her name is Michelle Fish, show up on my door and bang on my door and tell me that she wants to see my daughter right now. Unfortunately, I didn't let her. I told her that she doesn't have any legal right to see my daughter. She had no papers to say it, or she had no court orders. So then in the next, she came onto my property and she threatened me. She told me that she was going to take my baby away, just like she took my niece Layla. And then right then and there, I knew that they were trying to come after my daughter illegally. So, and then in the next breath, after she threatened me, this Michelle Fish, she told me she brought me diapers. I told her, no, thank you. I don't need anything. I'm a good mom and I can take care of myself and take care of my baby. And she got told to get off my property. So then a few days later, she went back to my mom's house and harassed my mom. And so we were in hiding. We lived in fear because of this woman. So then, on March 2nd, 2018, I was going to my mom's house. My daughter, we had pulled over at my mom's house. We were going out for dinner, and my daughter had pooped, so we pulled over to change her diaper, and she went in with my mom. And while I was sitting in my truck, I was on the phone talking to my kid's attorney, and all of a sudden I look over and there's 5 police cars surrounding my truck, and they're Marysville police officers, and I don't know what's going on. So they came and banged on my window as I was laying on the horn to let my mom know that something was wrong. They came and banged on my window, and then they called me big fat fucking bitch. Get your big fat fucking ass out of the truck. And then they dragged me by my hair and pulled me to the back of the truck, where they threw me on the ground of my SUV. They pulled me around the back end of my SUV, threw me on the ground, and they stomped my foot, and they assaulted me. A Marysville police officer assaulted me while at the time my 7-year-old son was standing out there watching. My Uncle Corey was there, and so was my mom. They kept telling them to stop. You're hurting me. I was under no legal reason to be under arrest. I was complying with everything that the police officer said, and this Marysville police officer continued to assault me. My mom walked up to him and said straight to the police officer, this Marysville police officer, because he was not right. His eyes were dilated, and he just wasn't in his normal state. My mom asked him if he was high. Sir, are you high? And the guy just stood there with a big grin on his face and was laughing. And as he was continuing to beat me in front of my kids and my family, the social worker, Michelle Fish, was standing at the end of the driveway calling me a bitch, calling me a slut, calling me a whore and a cunt. And I kept trying to get closer to my mom to get on private property. And while I was there, I was screaming. I was asking for help. I said, can you get me an ambulance? I'm hurt, can we get another agency? And I was on the phone with a police officer. Marysville intercepted the calls, got me no ambulance, got me no help at all while this police was beating me up. And Michelle Fish, the social worker from Arlington, stood there and allowed it to happen. And after the abuse stopped, another officer came up, Officer Smith from Marysville Police Department, and went in to see my daughter, and walked in there and saw there was nothing wrong with my family or my home or my daughter. She was happy. She was cooling. She was in a good spirits. And the cop said, I don't even know why I'm here. And then on the next breath, he said, got a thing on his over on his speaker, asking for his boss to come in. His boss came in and demanded to see him to strip search my 3-month-old baby. He told me that if I didn't, he was going to take my baby right then and there, and he had no warrants and no court orders to allow it. So I told him, my mom told him, we don't agree with what you're doing, and that we're gonna report it and we're gonna sue after. And he said, I don't care. And I had to stand there as a mom and watch them strip my 3-month-old baby, take her diaper off, and they were all male cops. And then shortly after that, after the stripping of my baby, we informed these police officers that my daughter is Canadian, and that we've contacted the Canadian consulate, and we called the FBI. And the one officer that was helping me, Officer Smith, said, I don't want any part of this. You're on your own. I'm not going to jail for kidnapping. And he wanted out of it. He didn't even want to be there. So then, after all this happened, Michelle told the police officer that if I took my daughter in to a hospital and get her checked out for diaper rash, they would close my case. So I did what I was supposed to do. I went and took her to the hospital, and I took myself to the hospital and reported to PICA, which is a place that you can report abuse by police officers, anybody public. It's through the Everett emergency room at Colby campus, and I told them about the assault, and they did an assault kit on me. I took pictures of me while I'm bawling because I got my butt kicked by a Marysville police officer, which was unlawful because I did nothing wrong to deserve it. And then, so I thought, okay, I went and hired an attorney again and got these people away from my family, thought everything was good. And then because of the abuse that I got, because of the beating that I got from Marysville Police Department, from their police, I ended up going into labor at 25 weeks. I didn't know I was pregnant. I started to bleed. And found out I was pregnant again with my baby that's up in Seattle Children's Hospital right now. Super sick because of this animal that beat me. My son came 25 weeks early because of the assault. And now, because of that, another doctor up at Seattle Children's, Dr. DiGeronimo, made a big, huge fake complaint about me to CPS saying that I refuse medical care, yet get this, my son is sitting in Seattle Children's up on the surgical ward, and he is being taken care of by a medical team, and they're saying that I refuse to get him medical treatment. Is that really necessary? Is that true? Yeah, right. Okay. So anyways, I had Dr. DiGeronimo call me January 6th on the phone and threaten me and tell me that if I did not let him do unnecessary procedures on my baby, he wanted to, he told me he was going to drill a hole in my baby's head, and that if I didn't give him consent for the MRI and to do that procedure on a Sunday, which I later found out they do not do on Sundays, any of those procedures, that he was going to call CPS, and he didn't care whether he got consent or not from me. He was going to damn well do it anyways. I have witnesses to his phone call. And now because of that, he has totally destroyed my life, and so has Seattle Children's. They have destroyed my life. Now I have to live in fear again because I have a CPS worker coming back after me, and my baby's sitting in Seattle Children's, and I've done nothing wrong as a mom. They've ruined my reputation, and now I have to fight to even protect my children from these people. And you know what? I've done nothing wrong. I have kept a big, huge paper trail of everything that they've done. And now my family is paying for the fact that these people are doing a complete witch hunt on me. I need help. I don't know what else to do as a mom. Can somebody please help me? Thank you very much for your time.